Welcome back, everyone, to Fireside Football. Alongside Andrew Williamson, I'm Kendall Capps.
Well, here we are, the NFL draft now complete.
Yep.
3 big days of fun. They kind of had a different format than we've seen in years past. We started off with round 1 on day 1, and then rounds 2 and 3.
3 on day 2, and then the final day on Saturday.
Well, what did you think? Any surprises? Any big winners? Any big losers?
Well, I was still somewhat surprised. I mean, you had Cam going 1. A lot of people had him going 1. I still don't necessarily agree with that move. I think at the situation that they don't have a lot around him to make him necessarily look as good as he could, and it's going to hurt them, I think. And it's always a gamble when you take that quarterback there.
I think it's a team that, they have a lot of issues. They have a lot of problems. It's hard to really decide which one is the most important, and they're taking the guy with the most upside that they think maybe he could be the savior of this franchise.
Yeah.
I think it's a reach, but what can you do?
How about, what do you think of Denver going after Von Miller?
Well, I like it the way he fits in their scheme. He can get to the quarterback a little. He can help secure that corner on the outside running game, which has been a problem for them. I was a little surprised they didn't take a defensive tackle here to fill up those running holes. But, it's a logical pick. They need to work on that run defense.
They need a lot of help on that defense on a lot of different positions.
And speaking of Marcel Darius, I think that's a great pick by Buffalo. I think he's going to be a run stopper there for years to come.
Yeah, it was the one guy I actually had right in the top 5 going there. They need a guy, a run stopper. They had guys like Ted Washington over the years, and they know how important it is to have a big anchor like that on your line.
Well, we both saw A.J. Green going to Cincinnati so that they have somebody for whoever's playing quarterback there to throw it to. But Cincinnati also picks up another quarterback later in the draft, and it looks like now Carson Palmer may be on his way out.
Yeah, at this point, with the drafts, with the moves they made, he said he was gone, and Marvin Lewis said the other day that he had talked to him earlier during the beginning of the offseason. He had made peace with wanting to retire, so it looks like that's the direction that they're prepared to go in.
That's a little shocking, but,
All right, and to round up the top 5, Patrick Peterson going to Arizona, maybe the best all-around player on the board.
Well, and it's huge. He's going to shut down half the field for the Cardinals, and that's something they desperately needed. They didn't get an upgrade at quarterback. I thought they might, but he's the best player in the draft.
Yeah, I was actually very surprised that they didn't have to go after anyone with the amount of problems they had last year going back and forth with quarterbacks. They had no success with Anderson.
Yeah, you have to wonder who's going to play quarterback for the Cardinals
this season.
But also, 6th pick, the Atlanta Falcons trading up to get Julio Jones, who a very capable wide receiver, but they traded almost an entire draft for him, and then they already have Roddy White on
They
the
do,
team.
but if you have the ability now to have those two on both ends, they still have some other guys that they can use in the middle. They have Tony Gonzalez still at tight end. He probably has another year or 2 left in the tank to play at a high level. That offense is going to be really difficult to stop this year.
Okay, well, how about Tennessee moving up to take Jake Locker with Blaine Gabbert still on the board?
Yeah, that was another surprise. I know Jake Locker, he would have been the number 1 pick last year, and I guess wouldn't surprise me if he turned into something great, but I think it's a tough situation for him in Tennessee where he might have to start right away.
Well, and it was a day with a lot of quarterbacks picked, but Minnesota at 12, taking Curtis Ponder. I did not know who Curtis Ponder was until
Curtis Ponder, he's been playing in the ACC for Florida State for a couple of years now. He has mediocre numbers. His winning percentage, Florida State, it's not entirely due to him. I thought he would drop maybe later first round, early second round. I was very surprised to see Minnesota. Maybe they felt, hey, look at these quarterbacks going after the board. Maybe they thought Locker would be there at 12 and he wasn't, and they got nervous and they had to grab someone up, I guess.
Well, how about, who do you think was the best drafting team here?
I like the Lions. I really like what they did. You go after another defensive tackle. Nick Fairley fell to them at 13. People didn't necessarily expect, including myself. I thought he was the best player on the board. I had him going number 1 possibly. But that didn't pan out. They get him there. They get the quick wide receiver to go on the other side of Megatron and Titus Young, a quick receiver out of Boise State.
And now you've got the complementary wide receivers. You got one big guy and another little guy to cut through the middle, and that's a dangerous attack they could have.
Yeah, and they added the running back out of Illinois. They followed that up with another solid pick.
Yeah, I like Mikel Lashore. He's an Emmitt Smith type back. He'll run through you. He's big, and they already have Javad Best, and now you can kind of alleviate some of the workload and maybe relieve some of those injury concerns.
In the last back to come out of Illinois that had numbers similar to his is Rashard Mendenhall just a few years ago, and he's become one of the better backs in the NFL.
Absolutely. Well, my team that I think I'm going to mark as having the best draft, I liked what New England did. And I know we talked beforehand, and I expected New England to trade away some picks. They held to form. They always do. But the way they did it, I thought, was so intelligent. They get picks in the first round next year and the second round next year. And after a new CBA is formed, there's probably going to be a lot less pay given for those first round picks. So it's going to be a lot less expensive. And then they go out and pick up Ryan Mallett.
Yeah, that was a questionable decision at that point in time in the draft. You know, it's probably Tom Brady's going to be the starter for a few years, seeing, anything unforeseen. And there was some serious questions. They didn't get the outside linebacker addressed. They haven't been able to get to the quarterback for a few years, and it's hurt them, and it could end up hurting them again.
I think they do need somebody to rush the passer, but what they have in Ryan Mallett, they pick him up late. They don't know he's still going to be on the board. And I don't think he'll ever play a game for the Patriots. I think he'll sit on the bench behind Tom Brady, and in 3 years, he'll be worth a first-round draft pick just for saying, here's what he did in college, here's how he can throw the ball, and he's been on the Patriots bench in our system, and they can trade him anywhere they want for another first-round
draft pick. And that was another thing. They picked up a first and a second in next year's draft. So they always find a way to pull that, to be able to, stockpile draft picks every year. All right, well, for Andrew Williamson, I'm Kendall Capps. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll catch you here next time.